Hi, my name is Anubhav and I'm Technical Marketing Engineer at Cisco Systems working for Security Business Group. In this video, I would be showcasing insertion of next generation IPS virtual appliance using application-centric infrastructure controller or EPIC controller. Before I begin this presentation, let me share agenda with you. I'll start this video with ACI Security Solution Overview. I will talk about models, supported devices, and then I'll move on to our next topic, device package and integration models. I'll tell you more about integration models, what is a device package, why a device package is required, and then I will move on to deployment models, where I will tell you how exactly devices are deployed. And then at the end of the video, I will talk about next generation IPS virtual appliance demo. So I'll give you a live demo on insertion of NGIPS using EPIC controller. Let's start with our first topic, Cisco application-centric infrastructure security solution overview. So this is our initiative towards SDN, software-defined networking. This is two-layer architecture where we have spine and leaf switches, and everything in this environment ACI world is controlled by EPIC controller. So when we talk about security, we have various devices which are supported as part of security solution. So we have firewalls and we have next generation IPS or FirePOWER appliances. So we have, in order to integrate these devices with EPIC controller, we need a device package so that EPIC controller can talk to these devices. We have supported models are ASA 5500X, 5585X, ASA V30, 10, 5, and then we have FirePOWER virtual appliance and FirePOWER physical appliance. So let me give you overview of NGIPS. So NGIPS is a virtual form factor of our physical FirePOWER appliance. It is supported on hypervisor environment, and presently we have inline mode available. So this is a very good slide that gives you more information on the virtual ASA appliance and virtual FirePOWER appliance. So this is a good slide which talks about what all features supported. So we have deep packet inspection, intrusion prevention, malware protection, URL filtering, identity-based policy control, network profiling, application visibility and control, and traffic filtering. And we have a single management using the Fire Site Management Center, the FMC. So if you look at the service graph, why service graphs are required? In order to integrate any layer 4 to layer 7 device, we need to create a service graph. So when you talk about insertion of the virtual FirePOWER appliance, we need Fireside Management Center that is integrated with EPIC controller, and we would be placing the Fireside virtual appliance in inline mode. So we need two NICs, one for the external interface, the other one is for the internal interface. And then EPIC will create port groups based on the same and align it to the appropriate zone. And then inline set is created, and the policy control and the other control that you do is done on the Fireside Management Center itself. So if you look at the diagram on right hand side, we have VNIC 2 and VNIC 3. We have a web EPG and the application EPG. So traffic is flowing between the two in inline pair mode. So now we are on the next topic, device package. What is a device package? It is a zip file that contains device specification and device script. So device specification file provides more information on the device type, and the device scripts are scripts which are made by the vendor itself in order to integrate the device with EPIC controller. So if you look at the right side, APIC controller uses a device package to interact with the device. Then we have integration model. So we have two integration models available at the moment. First one is for ASA. So in case of ASA, APIC controller can talk to ASA directly and put ASA in data plane. And then using the access policy configuration, you can redirect your traffic to FirePOWER embedded module or embedded module, and then everything is controlled by Firesite Management Center. In second model, if you are using the virtual appliance or the physical FirePOWER appliance, APIC controller can talk to Firesite Management Center and bring Firesite Management or bring a virtual sensor in inline data path, and then similarly policies are controlled on the Firesite Management Center. Then we talk about deployment model. Presently we only support transparent mode. On left hand side we have EPG web and EPG. On the right hand side we have EPG app. So we have two zones, external and internal, and we have created one inline set between external and internal, and traffic flows through the virtual FirePOWER appliance. So now I'll give you a live demo on how to insert next generation IPS using APIC controller. So before I begin, let me show you a diagram that I'll use, or the network setup that I'll use. I have already created two EPGs, application and web. I have two servers already, Linux 1 and Linux 2. So at the end of the demo, I should be able to communicate between Linux 1 and Linux 2, but I will insert APIC controller. I will configure my APIC controller and integrate it with Firesite Management Center and stitch virtual appliance between the two. So we'll see this integration live now. So let me log on to the lab devices and show you a live demo. Before we begin with this demo, let me go ahead and log into cisco.com and show you how to download Firesite Management Center, virtual sensor, and API. And at the bottom in the description of the video, I will also post link to download these softwares. Go to cisco.com, go to download homes, products, security, next generation IPS, and go to Firesite Management Center virtual appliance. You have option of installing the virtual appliance, or if you have a physical appliance, you can use that as well. You can download APIs from here. And for downloading virtual sensor, you go back to next generation IPS and click on NGIPS virtual appliance. So you need three softwares: Firesite Management Center, virtual sensor, and API. Once you have this information with you, you can just save it, and let's go to jump box. I have saved all the softwares there, and I have pre-installed FMC, Firesite Management Center, and virtual sensor. Along with that, I have two machines, Linux 1 and Linux 2. So let me bring up the network diagram real quick. So this is my network diagram. I would be creating two EPGs, app and web. I would be placing Linux 1 with IP address 10.00.62 in web EPG and 10.00.63 in app EPG. I will integrate my APIC controller with Firesite Management Center, and my Firesite Management Center will talk to vSensor and stitch this vCenter in the traffic path. So before I jump into APIC configuration, let me go ahead and show you what I've pre-configured on FireSite Management Console. So this is the FireSite Management Console and I am currently logged in. This is a virtual appliance that I'm working on, and this is the home page of the appliance. So what I have done as an initial step of configuration, I installed virtual appliance, assigned IP address, assigned licenses. So let me show you where I have assigned licenses. I've installed licenses for the virtual appliance itself. For the FireSite Management Center virtual appliance, I have assigned URL filtering, protection control, and malware license for my virtual sensor. Along with that, I have added my virtual sensor to this FMC. So my FMC is already attached to the virtual sensor. So next step is to log into APIC controller and take things from there. So before before I go to APIC controller, I will just show you how to install API on FMC so that it can talk to APIC controller. So before going there on the APIC controller directly, let's visit the jump box again. So I'm now connected to my APIC controller. I have already downloaded the APIC the API installer file and saved it on my FMC. So this is SSH connection to FMC, and in temp directory I have already saved this file. So I'll go ahead and run this command, sudo space sh and the name of this installer file. So with this command I have successfully installed API installer on FireSite Management Center. Now I'm ready to log in to APIC controller and integrate APIC controller with FMC. So before going there, let me pause this video and log into APIC controller real quick. So I'm now connected to APIC controller, and this is the dashboard of APIC controller. Till this point we have installed API installer on FireSite Management Center. Next step is to install device package on APIC controller so that we can integrate APIC controller with FireSite Management Console. In order to add device package, we need to click on L4 to L7 services, click on packages. Under packages, if you go here on left hand side, L4 to L7 services device type, just right click on it and click on import device package. Click on browse and browse to the device package that you have pre-downloaded and just click on submit. I've pre-installed device package for FireSite Management or the FirePOWER appliance, so I won't be doing it again. I have version 1.0 and the minor version is 1.13. So this is what I have already downloaded. So next step is to create tenant from scratch, and I will do step-by-step configuration and integrate APIC with FireSite Management Center, and then I will stitch virtual sensor between web and app EPG. So let me show you that diagram again. So this is my setup. I already have Linux machine 10.00.63 and the other Linux machine is 10.00.62. I will create two EPGs, app and web. We'll integrate APIC controller with FireSite Management Console, and FireSite Management Console will stitch virtual sensor. So let's begin with our tenant configuration. So I'll click on tenant on the top here, and I'll click on add tenant. I'll name it as NGIPSv, I will create a security domain for it, NGIPSv. I'll click on submit. So my new tenant NGIPS is created. First step that I will do is I will create a bridge domain. So I'm planning to create two bridge domains. First one is web. I'll create a dedicated VRF for this tenant, so I'll name it as NGIPSv. So I'm creating a VRF for this tenant. I'll click on next, and since I'm going to deploy NGIPS in GoThrough or transparent mode, I'll disable routing here. Make sure this checkbox is unchecked, otherwise you'll get error message while deploying virtual IPS. Now I will create another bridge domain, name it as app. I'll go ahead and place it in same VRF. Again, disable unicast routing from here as well. So now I have two bridge domains and one VRF configured. Next step is to add application profile. I'll name it as APNG application profile for NGIPS tenant. I'll add two EPGs here. First one that I will add is web. I'll make it as part of bridge domain web. Since there is integration already done between Epic controller and vCenter, and I have a VMM domain assigned, so I'll be using that VMM domain, tme-vc. I will create another EPG and name it as app. Same thing, assign the VMM domain, update, okay. So we need to make sure that there is no fault on NGIPS. There is no fault at the moment here. If I go to web, no fault on web as well. I go to app, no fault here as well. Let me maximize this. Should not be any fault here, and no fault under web as well. So we are now ready with basic configuration of a tenant, and we are now ready to integrate our device with Firesite Management Center. So I would go ahead and pause this video and then resume so that we can integrate this controller with Firesite Management Console. We are now back in Epic Controller, and we are all set to integrate Epic Controller with Firesite Management Console. Till this point, we have already installed API installer on Firesite Management Console. We have already installed device package on Epic Controller. We already have configured a new tenant. We have configured application profile, VRF, bridge domain, and now we will go ahead with our next step of adding Firesite Management Console or integrating Firesite Management Center with Epic Controller. So in order to add it, we'll go to L4 to L7 devices, and we'll click on L4 to L7 devices, right click on it and click on create L4 to L7 devices. I'll name this as NGIPSv. I'll service type is IPS, select virtual, and under device type, VMM domain is TMEVC, mode is single, device package is FirePOWER 1.0, model is virtual. I will select GoThrough or transparent mode, enter credentials of my Fireside Management Console. So between my EPIC controller and virtual sensor and Fireside Management Console, there is a NATing device. So I'm going to add real IP address of my Fireside Management Console, that is 10.0.0.61. I'll select virtual sensor. This is the virtual name of the virtual machine for virtual sensor. I will add two interfaces. I will skip ETH0 because ETH0 is reserved for management purpose. ETH2, update. Now here I will add translated IP address of my Fireside Management Center. You can use real IP address if there is no NATing device in transit. So I will use, I'll create a consumer interface. I will use web one, add another interface. That interface is a producer interface, that is app. Let's do okay. I will select next, click on finish. So I have just added a device. Let me go ahead and see if device is stable or not. Yes, I can see that device is now stable. We do have two interfaces, ETH1 and ETH2. Our next step is to go back to the application profile and create a contract, because in order to allow traffic between two EPGs you need to have a contract defined. Under that contract you can route your traffic to L4 to L7 devices. So I will just drag this here, and so I'm going to remove default values from here, and my external interface that I'm going to use is web EPG. So any traffic coming from web is my external traffic, and it would be going towards the provider interface is app interface. Let me name this as contract as web to app. I'm creating a new contract, so I'm naming it as web to app. I will create L4 to L7 devices as well. Click on next. I'll name this service graph as SG for NGIPS, service graph for this tenant. This is just the name. I'll just drag previously added NGIPS. I will go ahead and drag it here. Name it as NGIPSv. This is a very important step. You need to select inline mode for virtual IPS here and leave other options as default. Click on next. Click on next on this screen as well, and then you can click on submit. So once you will click on submit, this device will be deployed, and EPIC controller will talk to Fireside Management Console, and Fireside Management Console will talk to vSensor and stitch vSensor in the traffic path between web and app EPGs. So let's pause this video for a couple of minutes. Let this integration happen in background, and we'll be back again. Okay, now I think this integration is already complete, so let's go ahead and verify it. So we'll go to deployed graph instance and click on this graph. So we have created this graph between web and application EPG, and there is no fault at the moment. Let me see deployed devices also. So under deployed devices, I don't see any fault. So integration is done successfully. And I'll go to networking again. I'll go to bridge domain, click on application EPG, and we need to make sure that L2 unknown unicast is selected to flood. I'll do the same change for web EPG as well. And this is my network diagram, so I'm going to put Linux 1 in web EPG. So I'll go back to my vCenter. I'll select Linux box 1. Let me verify again. 1 is going to web EPG. So I'll select edit, and I've just created a tenant NGIPS, so I'm going to place it in web EPG. Similarly for Linux 2, I would be placing it in app EPG. And let me show you settings of virtual sensor. Virtual sensor has new application port profiles which are pushed by vCenter automatically. So one interface is this is the this is a consumer interface, and it is in web EPG. The other one is provider interface, and it is in app EPG. So configuration on configuration of vSensor, Linux host 1 and Linux host 2 is perfectly fine. So now let's log into Fireside Management Center and verify configuration here. So we begin verifying configuration directly from here. Go to device. Under device manager, we have a default intrusion prevention policy which is applied. Under this policy, we have two policies configured: out to in and in to out. We have selected external to internal and reverse for from in to out. This policy is applied on my virtual sensor 10.0061. Let me go to analysis and then go to access policy. Policies and access control. This is my control policy from internal to external. Let's go to objects. Under objects, let me verify zones. We have external zone. External is ETH2. Internal is ETH1. So configuration on the Fireside Management Console looks pretty fine. It is synced from APIC controller. So now let me go back to my jump box and log in. Linux 1 has IP address 62. Linux 2 has IP address 63. Linux 1 is 62 and the other one is 63. Let me ping 10.0.0.63 from here. We're getting responses, and from here I will ping 10.0.0.62. So we are getting replies. So I'm now connected to my virtual sensor, and on left hand side I have Linux 1 box and on right hand side I have Linux 2. I can see that packet is going through virtual sensor, so we are able to ping it. So let's go ahead and verify from virtual sensor if traffic is getting through it or not. In order to do that, there is a command, system support capture traffic. I'll enter this. Since my inline set is between ETH1 and ETH2, I'll select option number 1. And I will just press enter on options here, and now we need to wait for a couple of seconds when it displays the entire traffic on the virtual sensor. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. In the meantime, while we see this traffic here, let me give you a summary of what we have done. In this video, what we did is we created a new tenant, and in the tenant we created okay, now we can see traffic being passed through the sensor. Okay, so we are now sure that web EPG is talking to app EPG via virtual sensor. So let me go through the steps that we have done from start. We installed API installer on Fireside Management Center, integrated Fireside Management Center with APIC controller. On APIC controller, we created a new tenant. We created dedicated VRF for the new tenant. We created 2 bridge domains, web and app. And then we went ahead and created 2 EPGs. We created application profile first, and under application profile we created EPG web and EPG app, and then integrated APIC controller with Fireside Management Console using the device package that we earlier installed. And after that installation, we created a contract between web and app, and stitched virtual sensor in traffic path between web and app EPG. So now as a result, you can see that APIC controller was able to talk to Fireside Management Console, and Fireside Management Console can now stitch Fireside virtual sensor between app and web EPG. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.